When I heard we were gonna jump 5 years into the future for the duration of the show, I was actually really shocked. It basically turns the show into a different show.
Let's see what these girls do when they get to college. Let's see what these girls do when they fall in love with somebody else.
They got to go out and experience life and go to college and build new friendships and maintain their old friendships.
You know, people can change.
It gives you more for them to experience on their own. It gives them a new set of secrets.
It was good for all of them to kind of go off on their own and just grow up a little bit more and find out more about who they are and what was next for them in their journey.
This has been something we've been talking about for a while, is that we would reach a point when we would have to move the Liars forward.
We had talked as a writer's room about many different paths for each one of the girls and landed on some really interesting things.
When we see them at the end of, 6A, they're saying goodbye in a lovely goodbye scene that had us all in tears because we were saying goodbye to their teen years.
I can't believe we're actually leaving.
Ever since Spencer Hastings ran for student council, I think we've always thought she was a leader.
I cannot believe Spencer Hastings actually has time to shop. I mean, you're interning for the mayor, taking classes at Hollis, and redoing the barn.
Spencer, we talked about being ambitious and on a track to change the world. She went to school at Georgetown. She was working hard on Capitol Hill, probably unmasking anybody she could.
She studies poli-sci and a number of other things. She travels abroad in London. I think she got to do her year abroad in Oxford, which is what she really wanted to do, and backpack around Europe.
And we find out in the season about Spencer's trip to Spain, where she met up with Caleb.
And then she comes back, and she's the next up-and-coming thing in Washington, D.C.
I watch the government. I keep it honest. That's what I do.
She's said to be Washington, D.C.'s like brightest young lobbyist.
Aria went to SCAD in Savannah to study photography, but she ended up transferring to Tufts and started studying writing.
When we pick up in 6B, she works at a publisher's office, and that's how her and Ezra reconnect, is because he's an author, and so she starts publishing his books, and so it's like their worlds collide again. But I still think there's underlying feelings for Ezra. I mean, I think there always will be.
Emily probably had the most struggles during those 5 A-free years.
She experiences a great loss. Her father passes away during the 5 years.
She went to Pepperdine University. She did see Paige a little bit. They rekindled their relationship.
I'm sure Emily, based on, the previous seasons, she probably had a lot of relationships away.
She went to Italy for a while. She learned to DJ, and she also taught Caleb how to surf.
If you think about Hannah as a character who's changed the most because of how she looks when you first see her and the kind of life changes she went through and the kind of reinventing, she's always been the one who was most articulate about wanting to be in fashion and wanting to be in design.
Okay, are those this season?
Hannah essentially moves to New York with Caleb, and she gets into the fashion industry. And then between that time, they kind of break up, and she goes to Paris, and she just works in fashion.
She would have been completely sucked up into the vortex of, a world where opinions change daily and what's hot and what's not, and wanting desperately to find a way in.
Hannah got engaged in the 5 years, not to Caleb. Ari and Ezra are done, and she has a new boyfriend, so there's a lot to catch up on.
Someone has to stay, because someone always stays, obviously, everyone moves away. So the idea of Allison becoming a teacher, going to Hollis College, getting her teaching degree, and standing up in front of that blackboard, it tickled everyone so much.
Allison has grown up the most in the sense that when we met her, she really was a mean girl. She was the bully, and now she really has put her life on hold to take care of her sister.
She really transformed herself into actually a good human. I spent my whole life dreaming about getting away from here. But right now, this is the only place I want to be.
When we found out that we were doing a time jump in the show, I mean, I was ecstatic. You know, I think all of us were. We've been playing 16, 17 years old for about 5 years.
We were like, oh my God, we get to go do different things.
Hannah being engaged, and then is she gonna go through with the wedding? And Ari and Ezra coming back. I mean, so much stuff is happening, but at the end of the day, the girls are there for one another.
We saved the best for last, and this probably is the last 30 episodes we're going to see. And there is a final twist that's coming, and 6B is the beginning of the end of this new story that we're going to tell at a much faster pace.